Hey, all. This is my third installment here. I'm just going to get to reading. These kids were sent there to the juvenile detention facility that I worked in um, for reasons, and it wasn't because of a first offense or something as trivial as smoking a little weed. Kids would run all the time and try to escape from there. And if they did that, it was the staff's ass that was on duty held to the fire, as I'm sure you can imagine. After I started feeling like a bag of smashed ass, my kids, who generally really liked me because I treated them like human beings, not like juvenile delinquents like a lot of the other staff did. Some of the other staff I really had a problem with, and especially senior leadership had, they seemed like police officers that flunked out of police academy or just had this power complex and treated the kids like shit. And rehabilitation is always better than incarceration, in my opinion. Um, so I started. They started to grow concerned about my well-being. They were genuinely worried about me. They said I started to look extremely pale, and something was up with me when I asked them to please not screw me over, but if they needed to go to the bathroom, just go. I had to lay my head down on it on the rec room couch and table, and I just basically laid there, and I was pouring sweat. I was really pale. If they need to leave the common area and head to their rooms, I said just go. Luckily, I built a solid relationship with these guys, so they weren't going to screw me over, and they didn't. They didn't at all. After about 2 hours had passed, it was time for the guys to go to chow. I couldn't let them go alone, so I had to walk them there and watch them in a large cafeteria with several other groups and staff, some senior staff as well. As soon as we entered the chow hall, I sat down and let the kids go uh, up two at a time to get their food. Immediately, one of the douchebag team leaders, that's the upper management I was talking about, confronted me about not escorting them up to get their food. I let them know I felt terrible. They basically told me that was too bad. Luckily, the woman who cooked all of the food, and she's this wonderful woman. I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she actually probably played a part in saving my life that day. Uh, she was our cafeteria mom. I mean, that's what she was. That's what she did. She had been there for since the place had opened. She was in her mid 60s. She could immediately identify something was wrong with me. I don't know how she knew it, but she just looked out into the common area of the cafeteria from the kitchen, saw me with my head laying down, came up, grabbed my shoulder, and asked me what was wrong. And I told her I wasn't feeling well. She gave me two baby aspirin, and she told me I need to go to the hospital immediately. It was like she knew exactly what was happening, and I had no fucking clue. I had no idea. So, I mean, she saw me for literally like 12 seconds before she had deducted that I was having a heart attack. I confronted another team leader, not the total dickhead one, but uh, another one, and they told me to head out and go to the hospital. I was extremely reluctant because I was because every staff member has a 90-day probation period while working there, as in many places of appointments do, and um, if you missed any days in those 90 days, that was you'd be terminated. So I was terrified that I was going to get fired from my new job that I had, and I really loved because I loved working with the kids. I love being there for them. I love being, someone they were actually excited to see come in while they're locked up. It was a great feeling. Um, so in my 90-day probation period, I was only 60 days in at the time. We'll call him Lubo. He was a pretty good team leader. He assured me that it would not affect my job and just to leave. He said he would cover the nights. That was my group that I was watching that day for the rest of the evening. Luckily, I decided to take his advice, and I drove myself 30 minutes south to the closest VA hospital, Clarksburg, West Virginia. I was not in a good place when I was driving my vehicle down there. I still have no idea what was wrong with me. I was just hoping it wasn't something too serious, but I believe deep down I knew that it wasn't going to be good news. I'm one of those people, reluctant, bullheaded, whatever you want to call it, that, I'll wait till something's really wrong to go to the doctor. It's not me. I don't just go to the doctor if I have the flu or something of that nature. Honestly, it's just foolish. So I remember thinking on the drive down that there was no way this could be a heart attack. I was 33 years old. I was in almost the best shape of my life. I always took care of myself physically and maintained a pretty solid, healthy diet, literally from the time I was 14 on. I worked out consistently, and I had a healthy diet. I'll post some older pictures at some point, and you guys can see for yourself, like the shape I was in and how I was doing. It was great. And I was only 33, so like, what the fuck? And there's no heart health issues in my family. My grandma and grandpa both had bypass surgeries in their mid 80s. That was it. And my mom's one of 11 children. So, I mean, and my dad's side, nothing at all. So, no idea where this came from. I arrived at the hospital. I parked my car in the huge parking lot and walked my dying ass into the emergency room. I told them what was going on, and they ran some tests. They said they thought I may have had a heart attack, but the protein levels they had checked showed it was borderline because it was so close to when it happened. It was borderline because it was so close to when it happened. And so I guess the longer after the heart attack, these protein levels would increase or decrease, whichever way they identify the heart attack. So they basically told me to hold on. I remembered all I could think about was that I had to be at work the next morning at 5:45 a.m. and I was still on my probationary period. The emergency room doctor begged me to wait another hour or two in the emergency room, and they would have a more clear idea of whether I had a heart attack or not. I was very reluctant. Again, bullheaded, stupid. After some convincing, I obliged, and the doctor verified my worry. I had just had a heart attack. Turns out that blood clots formed in my widowmaker artery, which created 75% blockage and resulted in that heart attack. I was extremely bummed and confused how this could have happened. I mean, I took care of myself. I was young. I had a wife. I had a daughter. I had a home. I had a great job. And my mind began to race, thinking of everything that could go wrong. Was it possible that I could die? I mean, it certainly didn't feel like it. I've been through plenty of situations where I thought I was going to die that were way more severe than this situation. So I really, it was tough for me to fathom. Thought, could I really be dying right now? I mean, it certainly didn't feel like I was, but I didn't feel well. And actually, the longer it was, I started to feel like kind of okay again. And then I didn't. I didn't feel okay. It didn't stop. But by the time they admitted me in the hospital and I went through some tests and sat there and was laying in a bed and they gave me some water and things like that. I started feeling a lot better. And it turns out that's typically how heart attacks work. They admitted me into the hospital for a few days, prescribed me blood thinners and several other heart medications, and eventually sent me home. I will pick this up next time.